Research on Wa, the fundamental philosophy of Japanese culture and society. I will present on the origins of Wa and ongoing efforts to foster it. As I am unable to speak, I deliver my presentation using synthetic speech. After graduating from university, I worked as a teacher in Africa for 2 years, and upon returning to Japan, I began working in the field of computer-based language processing. This research aims to clearly convey, both domestically and internationally, the philosophy of Wa, a spiritual foundation that lies at the core of Japanese culture and society, embraces diversity, strives for a harmonious society, and ensures the continuity of culture and civilization. In this independent research project, I will provide an overview of the background and values of Japanese culture, speculate on the origins of the Wa philosophy, define Wa and acts of Wa, discuss government and private sector initiatives related to Wa, present the findings of my research regarding the philosophy of Wa that lives on in society. The first section of Chapter 1 provides an overview of prehistoric era. Humans who set out from Africa approximately 60,000 years ago reached the Japanese archipelago about 40,000 years ago. During the Paleolithic era, roughly 30,000 years ago, they were the first in the world to produce polished stone tools, considered a symbol of the Neolithic era. And in this, we can sense the budding of a culture of craftsmanship or skill. Around 16,000 years ago, the Jomon period began, marked by the creation of pottery known as Jomonware, which expressed a free-flowing sense of beauty. This pottery was used for cooking food, and activities such as hunting, gathering, fishing, and farming were carried out in small, crescent-shaped settlements, sustaining a peaceful era for over 10,000 years. During this era, a worldview based on the maternal principle, which embraces diverse things as they are and expresses gratitude to Mother Earth, often referred to as animism, took shape. It is believed that Japanese culture and society were formed with the philosophy of harmony, Wa, at their core, rooted in the recognition that all beings exist in mutual dependence within this world. Hydroponic rice cultivation, which was introduced to northern Kyushu around the 10th century BC, spread as far as the Tohoku region over the course of several hundred years. This ushered in the Yayoi period, marked by the production of Yayoi pottery that prioritized practicality over artistic expression. Hydroponic rice farming enabled the concentration of wealth, leading to the rise of powerful clans wielding chikara, power, in various regions. This transitioned into the Kofun period, which saw the formation of a unified state. Although the patrilineal principle, emphasizing the gods of heaven and governance, was introduced during this time, it is inferred that Japan continued to grow by absorbing and integrating new cultures based on the philosophy of Wa, which embraces diversity on the foundation of the matrilineal principle inherited from the Jomon period, thereby accepting the myriad gods. Next is our worldview. This can be described as the very source of Japanese culture, shaped by the principle of motherhood. Although there is no formalized definition, I've summarized a general overview here, which I'd like to share with you. Japan is blessed with nature that offers beauty, the colors and bounty of the 4 seasons, and a sense of peace. And while we enjoy this abundance, nature can also rage at times. Everything, even words, is imbued with a soul, and resentment and grudges also exist within this worldview. Gods, Buddhas, the sun god, our ancestors, spirits and ghosts, as well as the authorities and powers of this world, the afterlife, and even imaginary worlds, all exist. We live under their watchful care, receiving their blessings, and accept all phenomena just as they are. Finally, there are 4 cultural values. These are also the values generated by culture and shared among people. Wa, harmony or peace, the fundamental philosophy of culture and society that involves respecting others, avoiding conflict, and creating and maintaining peace and harmonious relationships is the most quintessentially Japanese concept. The beauty of nature's abundance, which reflects the Japanese worldview, along with its blessings, and the myriad works of beauty that people create from this foundation. Power, chikara, which is both an object of people's aspiration and fear, and forms the core of Bushido and the martial arts. Skill, waza, the artistry with which people pour their souls into creating even the smallest, everyday objects. In this study, we refer to these principles as values, and they also serve as the goals of culturally based actions. I will now explain these 4 values. First is wa. Wa means harmony or peace. It represents a state of tranquility and stability, free from disorder or calamity. It signifies good relationships with nature, people, and organizations. It lies at the very foundation of Japanese culture and is a philosophy that embraces diversity and strives for a society of coexistence. Next is beauty. Beauty denotes a state of charm. It is what generates aesthetic appeal and emotional resonance, encompassing the content of expressions in cultural activities such as literature, fine arts, and music, as well as in sports, and the values underlying these ideas. Next is power, chikara. Power denotes a state of strength. It encompasses the power exercised by nature, individuals, and groups, as well as authority, political power, military force, financial resources, athletic ability, and other forms of potential, such as influence. Finally, there is skill. Skill refers to excellence in craftsmanship or performance. It also encompasses the quality of creative works or systems, as well as the ability to produce them. The first section of Chapter 2, The Origins of the Wa Philosophy. 1. Background to the emergence of the Wa philosophy. During the Jomon period, which began approximately 16,000 years ago, settlements scattered across the Japanese archipelago engaged in hunting, gathering, fishing, and farming. While trading with other regions within the country, they possessed advanced civil engineering techniques and are believed to have lived in peace for over 10,000 years. The following can be inferred from these circumstances. Within the worldview that emerged during this era, one that views nature as multifaceted, capable of being both a blessing and a threat, and a worldview that expresses gratitude toward Mother Earth, who gives birth to life and bestows blessings. People viewed themselves as merely one among all living things, neither chosen nor special, nor capable of existing independently, but rather as beings interdependent within the greater system. They established the principle of wa, harmony, which values harmony as the common goal of their communal society, and sustained that society based on this shared principle. 2. Wa at the time of the establishment of the Ritsuryo state. First written record, the 17-article Constitution, Prince Shotoku, 604. Article 1. Wa, harmony, is to be held in high esteem, in which wa should be treated at the highest position. Article 2. Reverence the 3 treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, with sincerity, in which adoption of Buddhism is described. The rules of Confucianism is frequently mentioned in other articles. Emperor is positioned at the top and center of the nation. Discussion should be used to avoid conflict and reach consensus. Aims to build an integrated nation based on Japan's core principle of harmony, wa, incorporating ideas from other countries. This initiative itself aims to fuse the rule of law based on the Constitution and the Ritsuryo Code with traditional virtue-based governance. The second section of Chapter 2, Definitions of wa and the acts of wa. Katsuyoshi Sanematsu, a cultural anthropologist, analyzes the concept of wa from his various perspectives, defines wa as follows. Wa is the shared principle that has shaped Japanese culture and society by peacefully integrating contradictory elements. On the other hand, in our study, we define as follows. Wa refers to the act of showing consideration for others and one's surroundings to avoid disorder, calamity, conflict, and strife, thereby establishing and maintaining a state of tranquility and good relations. Furthermore, we define the acts of wa as follows. Praying for harmony, showing consideration for others and one's surroundings, expressing a spirit of harmony, eliminating bias to achieve balance, adopting an attitude that prioritizes harmony, avoiding disorder, disaster, conflict, and strife, establishing a peaceful state and good relationships and maintaining them. In short, sustaining a culture and society that values harmony. That is what it means. Governmental initiatives. The first written constitution, the 17-article Constitution, 604, which states wa, harmony, is to be in high esteem. The first currency in circulation, the Wado Kaichin, 708, the era names frequently incorporate the characters wa, harmony, and hei, peace, Showa, Heisei, Reiwa. In the ancient Shinto ritual of sumo, prayers are offered for bountiful harvests, good health, and peace throughout the land. During the New Year's Day imperial ceremony, Shi Holhai, the emperor prays for bountiful harvests and the nation's peace and tranquility. The lyrics of the national anthem, Kimi Gayo, which were included in the Kokin Wakashu and have been cherished nationwide for over 1,000 years at celebratory occasions, express a wish for the eternal prosperity of those we respect. It is believed that the wish for a bountiful harvest of the 5 grains became firmly established as a common aspiration primarily from the Yayoi period onward. 2. Private sector initiatives. An overwhelming number of long-lived companies. Kongo Gumi, founded in 578 AD. Over 40% of companies worldwide have been in business for over 100 years. Over 60% have been in business for over 200 years. Company motto, corporate philosophy, QC activities. The fourth section of Chapter 2, the spirit of wa alive in society. Here we can glimpse the spirit of wa that permeates society, and we will present typical examples of behaviors characteristic of wa, which are distinctive when compared to other cultural spheres, based on the defined classifications of wa behaviors. 1. Pray the anxious Japanese. It is said that the percentage of people in Japan who feel happy is low by global standards. Even when things are going reasonably well, Japanese people generally tend to worry that they will take a turn for the worse and are not prone to optimism. While some view this as part of the Japanese national character, it is likely influenced by factors such as nature, which brings both blessings and threats, a worldview where gratitude coexists with resentment and grudges, a sense of impermanence, and sensibilities such as mono no aware, a sense of the transience and pathos of things. Praying for harmony for oneself and one's family. Perhaps due to this tendency toward worry, prayers at Japanese shrines often center on wishes such as family safety, good health, warding off misfortune, and safe childbirth. This suggests a tendency to avoid anything that might disrupt harmony. Of course, there are also many specific wishes, such as prosperity in business, increased financial fortune, and success in exams are also common depending on the specific shrine's focus. However, according to surveys, overall there are many prayers seeking harmony, such as domestic safety and good health and freedom from illness. In other words, prayers seeking harmony are the most common. Consideration. Being mindful of others, showing consideration, and responding accordingly. We are taught to be clearly aware of and considerate toward people outside our immediate circle, that is, strangers, and in this way, we have fostered what might be called a culture of compassion. Sincere omotenashi, hospitality, and serving customers politely with a smile are representative acts of wa, harmony, that embody the spirit of wa based on awareness of and consideration for others. Foreigners visiting Japan are often surprised by the polite treatment they receive from Japanese people, remarking, "Even though I'm a complete stranger." However, in Japan, it is precisely because someone is a stranger that we treat them with special consideration, and this is considered the norm. Might it be that these actions help maintain the high standards of public morality among the Japanese people? Behavior. People are watching. In situations where a child is making a commotion in a public place and is likely to bother others, parents may say to their own child, "People are watching," to make them aware that others are observing them. While in many parts of the world, strangers are generally either treated with caution or largely ignored, in Japan, people make a special effort to be mindful of them, show consideration, and take appropriate action. In The Chrysanthemum and the Sword, Ruth Benedict describes such behavior as rooted in Japan's culture of shame. While this Japanese mindset and behavior are unique from a global perspective, she considers them to be a typical expression of the culture of harmony that characterizes Japanese culture. Her view is that people exercise caution not because they fear being shamed, but because such behavior would disrupt the harmony with others that they must maintain. 3. Expression. Expressing gratitude. In a worldview that embraces diversity, we recognize that we are interdependent with those around us. We have learned that when we receive blessings or achieve success, even if it is due to our own efforts or good fortune, we should never consider it something we achieved solely through our own strength. Instead, we should express our gratitude to all those who have shown consideration, concern, and support, acknowledging that it is thanks to you we are connected. Behavior. Itadakimasu. Before a meal, we clasp our hands at the table, bow sincerely, and say itadakimasu to express our gratitude for nature and its bounty, the plants and animals that provided life, our parents and all those involved in preparing the meal, and for the very opportunity to enjoy this meal. This practice differs from the custom found in other cultures around the world of saying bon appetit to those at the table, as well as from offering a prayer of thanks to a single deity. Rather, it is an act of harmony, wa, rooted in a value system unique to Japan, through which we, as interdependent members of a diverse, colorful, and pluralistic world, express our gratitude to all those involved. Expressing gratitude, offering congratulations, and giving return gifts. In Japan, the term thanks refers to the expression of gratitude when one receives something or celebrates an occasion, as well as the monetary gifts or items given in response. Acts such as expressing thanks, offering congratulations, or giving return gifts and hosting celebratory events are treated with particular respect and care. Making requests with sincerity. Whether the person is known or unknown, when you wish to ask someone for a favor, you inform them of your request with a sincere attitude and ask for their cooperation. Phrase: Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. When you need cooperation from someone for a specific period of time or number of days, bow sincerely to the person and say, "Please take care of me," to convey your request for cooperation. This is a very common behavior in Japan. For example, in English conversation, there is no direct translation that can always be used in similar situations. While it may be contextually similar to expressing one's feelings by saying, "Nice to meet you," to someone for the first time, it is not equivalent to conveying a specific wish, such as wanting to maintain a good relationship or seeking consideration, as it is an expression closer to a greeting that is commonly used even when meeting someone for the second time or later. I believe this act of communication also aims to foster the distinctive concept of wa. 4. Seeking balance. Never forget to show respect to enemies and losers. In martial arts, when competing, one must not forget to show respect to one's opponent, that is, one's enemy. Even if one wins a match, one does not flaunt the victory, but instead maintains a sense of consideration and respect for the loser. Objectively describing family members. Even children, when telling others about their family members, for example by saying, "My father is," instead of saying, "My daddy is," make objective statements as if they were the family's representative. Similarly, when a newlywed couple informs others of their marriage, they say, "We were to get married," rather than, "We've decided to get married." Such objective expressions are referred to as spontaneous. Taking a moderate, middle-of-the-road stance. In Japan, extreme ideas, judgments, and actions are generally viewed as undesirable, and a mild, gentle attitude and perspective are generally considered preferable. For this reason, people may tend to be reluctant to actively voice their own opinions in meetings and similar settings. 5. Prioritizing harmony. Restraining oneself to maintain public order even in adversity. The way Japanese people adhere to public rules during situations like the earthquake disaster was reported to the world with astonishment. There was no looting, and people refrained from asserting themselves. 6. Achieving harmony. Creating a society where everyone feels comfortable. Even in major cities like Tokyo and Osaka, pickpocketing and bag snatching are rare. It is safe enough for women to walk on the streets at night and for lost wallets to be returned. Public places such as airports, streets, and restrooms are kept clean. Silence is maintained on trains and elsewhere, with people refraining from speaking loudly or using their phones. Staff treat customers with courtesy and respect in stores and other establishments, and people line up orderly while waiting in town or for trains. These are the surprising impressions experienced in Japan that foreign visitors coming to Japan for the first time unanimously describe. This well-ordered society, where everyone feels comfortable, is not achieved through strict rules. It is the result of the spirit of wa, consideration for others, and the efforts of its people. 7. Preserving. Continuing to treasure traditional objects, practices, and spirits. In Japan, ancient shrines and temples are not simply preserved as historical sites. Not only are they integrated into the landscape to harmonize with modern and contemporary architecture, but people also maintain the shrines in their neighborhoods and the Jizo statues by the roadside, cleaning them and dressing them in new robes, thereby ensuring their functions and roles continue to be fulfilled within society. The same applies to festivals and other events. Preserving our shared culture, whether tangible or intangible, is a vital expression of the spirit of wa. Molière's traditional objects, practices, and spirits. In Japan, ancient shrines and temples are not simply preserved as historical sites. Not only are they integrated into the landscape to harmonize with modern and contemporary architecture, but people also maintain the shrines in their neighborhoods and the Jizo statues by the roadside, cleaning them and dressing them in new robes, thereby ensuring their functions and roles continue to be fulfilled within society. The same applies to festivals and other events. Preserving our shared culture, whether tangible or intangible, is a vital expression of the spirit of Wa.